Welcome everyone to our first weekly analysis meeting for 2018, and this is in preparation for trading on January 8th to the 12th, so week of January 8th. So just a quick disclaimer, as usual, before we get started, this is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money as you trade. All right, so as usual, we will start off by taking a look at our Forex Factory calendar here. So starting the week off here, first thing we have is Bank of Canada Business Outlook Survey. So Canadian dollar has been doing quite well. Oil has been going up. So as a result, all the commodity currencies have been doing well. So we'll see what Bank of Canada comes out with. So the last time Bank of Canada did their rate announcement, they essentially, last two times, they kept the interest rates low or the same. And they started raising the rates in 2017. Last two times were the same. And what they said essentially was that they were concerned about the state of the economy, Canadian economy. So this will give us a better idea of how the economy is doing. And if the economy is doing well, then going forward, that whole interest rate hikes idea may start kind of coming back into the market. So that's what we are going to keep an eye on this. So if this is well, then it will be positive for the Canadian dollar because the market will start expecting another interest rate hike in 2018. Other than that, we have a couple of FOMC members speaking here. So on Tuesday, not much in terms of red news. We have trade balance numbers out of the Eurozone, but nothing major here. Wednesday here, we have manufacturing production numbers for British pound. Again, British pound has done quite well as well. US dollar has performed poorly here. And that's why all the different currencies have done well. So here, manufacturing production numbers come in positive. That will be positive for the British pound here. And then we have crude oil inventories. Like I said, commodities have done well. And if crude oil does well, then Canadian dollar is likely to rise with that and the other commodity currencies as well. Also, retail sales number for Australia, that will have an impact on Australian dollar. And then going into Thursday here, even though it doesn't, it's not marked as red, but Bank of England credit condition survey will be an important one, and ECB monetary policy meeting account these will be positive. These will be impactful on the market as well, even though they're not marked in red, because this is basically the minutes of the discussion that the ECB had amongst themselves. That's what is captured here, and really what the market is looking at is things around interest rate hikes. ECB hasn't done any interest rate hikes, but they are more concerned about the asset purchase program. So are they going to keep pumping money into the economy? That's what will be important here to see if any changes will be coming down the line in that. And then PPI numbers, these are precursor to our retail sales numbers. So these are leading indicators, will be important for the US dollar here. Another thing here, federal budget. Even though it's not marked red, but usually this will have an impact on the US dollar, because what we're looking for here is how bad is it? How much deficit is the US running? The higher the deficit, the worse it is for the US dollar. So this is something to keep in mind here as well. And then we have another FOMC member speaking. We have Chinese trade balance number here. So this trade balance number, any of the Chinese number generally will have an impact on Australia and New Zealand, because those two countries are big trade partners with China. Australia and New Zealand export a lot of stuff to China. So as a result of that, if these Chinese numbers normally come in negative, it has a negative impact on those two currencies. So keep that in mind. On Friday, we have CPI numbers. It is the inflation number, which the Fed will monitor. So this is an important number. So core CPI and CPI, as well as the retail sales numbers, will be important for the US. So all in all, we don't have a ton of critical data, so that you don't see a lot of red. So I'm not expecting too many fireworks here this week, which is good. All right, so now let's go on to our charts here. Okay, we'll start off with the Euro US dollar here. Euro US dollar, we have a pin bar here, small doji. As we can see, we are into the previous resistance level. So this will be a critical point for euro. So as long as euro stays below 1.2086 level here, this support or resistance level, we are looking for it to come back lower. So this one, I'm looking for it to drop. The target here would be 18, about the 1850 level. So that's what I'm looking at, but we may get into trouble right here. So if the price is not able to break below 1950, it could do another leg to the upside. So that's something to watch out for. So it could do one of these and then go test it. And if the US dollar is not doing so well, so we could see one of those as well. So that will be the risk that we'll have to keep in mind. But right now, based on the technicals here, looks like we are seeing a bit of a double top forming here. We have a little doji pin bar, and I'm looking for price to drop. First target 1.1950 and second target 1.1850. So those are the two targets. My bias is bearish on Euro US dollar for the upcoming week. Pound here. Pound is in an interesting situation. So if we were to take this away, as we can see, we are in this range here. So price had gone up, pushed back down to the previous support level, and then has pushed back up. So in this case, we do see bullishness here, but the bullishness is starting to kind of wear off here. So we are looking into a similar situation in pound as in euro here, right, as well. So if we were to take these levels away, as you can see, we are in this range. So now the price is at the top of the range, and that's another reason I'm looking for this to drop here as well. With the pound, it's not exactly at the top, so which means that we do have some room for this to go higher. So I'm going to treat this as a range, and I'm looking for price to hit this 1.3657 level, and from there my base case scenario would be price goes up and then does this back into the range. So I'm looking for price to react at the previous highs here and then pull back into the range. Now the risk would again be that price breaks out, and then we could see it go to the next support and resistance level, which is at 1.40. Or actually, let me draw a proper support resistance line here. Sorry, 1.3900. Let me take this away. Okay, so 1.3867-ish level. So let's say 138.50. So that would be the level that it could go to. But my base case scenario, what I'm expecting would be for the price to go up, hit the high, and then kind of come back into the range before it decides to do something else. So that's what I'm looking for. So in this case, looking for price to go a little bit higher into 136.57-ish level and then drop from there. Aussie here. Aussie has been extremely strong. All the commodity currencies, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, they have all done really well over the last few weeks, actually. So in this case, this looks bullish. We are still in that bullishness here, looking for price to go up higher. In this case, we are at 78.60 here, looking for price to go into this 80.50 level. So there is some room for it to go higher still. And this is where so this is what I'm going to do. So those are the two targets. So first target is 79.50. Second target is 80.80. Those are the two targets to the upside. But Aussie US dollar looks bullish. New Zealand dollar here. New Zealand dollar is also looking bullish. The next level I'd be looking for would be 73.80 level. So back into these previous highs. That is a nice bullish candle, looking for it to continue higher. So bias is to the upside for New Zealand dollar. Dollar CAD here, we had a nice triple top here, and since then it's dropped a fair bit. And as I said, Canadian dollar has been quite strong. So I'm looking for it to continue. So dollar CAD, I'm looking for price to drop here, and the target here would be 1.2100 level. It could take a little bit of time to get there, but that's the target. So it still looks very strongly bearish because Canadian dollar is strong, so the US dollar is weak. As a result, dollar CAD is the bias is to the downside, looking for it to drop further into this 1.2100 level. So bearish on that. Let's take a look at this Swiss franc here. Okay, so this one here, the bias is still to the upside. As we can see, we're still seeing that upwards trend in this one. Now, it is a compressed move, though, as we can see. The price is going higher, but it hasn't really gone much further in the last few weeks. So the difference between New Zealand dollar, for example, see how the candles are spread apart and they are pushing higher. We even see a little bit of gaps here, whereas in Euro Swiss franc, price is getting compressed, and this is what it usually looks like. Price will look like it's pushing up higher, but doesn't really get anywhere, and that's what we are seeing right now. So at this point, we do see a rejection of this 1.1780 level. So right now, I'm looking for price, this little triangle, to break here. So in this case, my bias is to the downside. So we could see one of these, a break of the triangle, and then a drop, and price going into this level. So that's what I'm looking for. The bias on this will be to the downside, and the target here will be 1.1580 level. So I'm looking for it to drop back into this previous level here. But we need to see a clear break of this trend line, because otherwise it could just keep hugging the trend line and go up higher. Okay, so that's our, that's Euro Swiss franc, Pound Swiss franc. In this case, we're just sideways. Nothing much is going on here. Completely sideways in this range. So I would say price is right in the middle of the range, very, very neutral. This could go either way. Considering a bit of a range-bound market, not taking this into account, I would say it may just trickle down towards the bottom here, 1.2950 level, but I'm neutral on Pound Swiss franc. Dollar Swiss franc here, this is looking bearish now. So let's take a look. All right, so we had a big drop, and now we have a neutral close on the weekly candle. So overall, even though the bias is to the downside here, this neutral candle could change things. So if price does not break below this 96, so let's say 9,700 level, if it stays above the 9,700 level, it could start going back higher here. So I would be careful with this one as well. The bias is neutral for this. Greg, which one are you talking about? So you're saying a significant retracement for dollar Swiss franc? A retracement to the upside here? We could, because it's very neutral. So it could go either way. So right now, if we take a look at it, it hasn't done much. So this is where we sit currently. So let's remove everything else. So this is where we are. So for since October, it's been range bound between these two levels. So between 1.00 and 9,700. So now we are at the bottom of that range again. So this is where it had turned. Now we're at the bottom of the range, so it could pull back. I'm at this point, we'll just have to see what happens here. But it has made a lower high here, and it has made a lower low. So that's why I would be careful, and I would go to the daily chart. And as we are trading it on a more of a daily basis, I will go down to the daily chart and see how price reacts here. But overall here, we are sort of into the bottom of that range here, and it could go up higher. But the problem is US dollar is very weak at the moment. And that's what's causing the problem here. So Swiss franc hasn't really done much. If we take a look at Pound Swiss, is going sideways, Euro Swiss is going sideways. What's causing dollar Swiss to drop is the weakness is in dollar, not so much the strength in the Swiss franc. And if the US dollar does not gain strength across the board, so if euro dollar, pound dollar, they keep on going up, this will drop. Whereas we are seeing how euro is at a double top, right? And we are seeing pound is kind of coming into that resistance level. So in this case, if the dollar were able to gather some strength here, we could see it go back. But right now it's very neutral, which means it could continue lower as well. And that's why I would just watch this before trading. But yes, if dollar were to make a comeback, this could go back up, and then I'd be looking back towards the top of the range here for this. So we'll just leave that as a neutral. So let's go into the yen crosses here. Looks like I've got all kinds of support resistance levels spread out. Let's remove those. Okay. We're looking bullish. As we can see here, this is also a little bit of a range-bound move since August here. Price has been trading into this range. It is pushing into the top of the range here, and it's not showing us behavior, normal range-bound behavior where it would be trying to drop. So in this case, we have to first take a look at the breakout first. So we have to see if it will break out, because it is pushing into the top of the range. So if it breaks out, I'm looking for 156.00 as the next target. But very important, because it is at the top of the range. So last two times price came into this level, it bounced off of this. So in this case, we have a little bit of a triangle here, which means it could go higher. But again, I would watch out. This is definitely a range-bound market at this point. So we'll have to see if the top will play a role or wait for a breakout. My base case scenario is for a breakout. So I'm looking for a breakout and then move to 15600. But we do have to wait for that breakout and not just, get in ahead of this, because being a range-bound move, it can just come back towards the middle of the range. So that looks bullish at the moment. Pound, Euro Yen here. Euro Yen, we are into this previous support resistance level, and the candle close is bullish to neutral here. So I'm looking for price to, if the euro starts to drop, this could drop here as well. But again, just like the US dollar, Japanese yen has been very, very weak. Everything has gone up against the yen. So that causes a bit of a problem. So not only is it the euro weakness that will come into play here, it will be the yen weakness as well, and yen has just been weak at this point. So that's something to keep in mind. So at this point, because it's a neutral candle close, I am looking for price to react here at 136.80 level and see if it will come lower. But if the yen stays weaker, I would be looking for price to go into 139.00 level. But again, it is at important support resistance level. So the first base case scenario would be that I'm looking for a reaction. So I'm looking for this type of a setup. So my bias will be neutral to bearish slightly. But again, I'm going to be watching this 136.80 level very closely. Aussie yen, it's just been a one-way move here. Australian dollar has been very strong and yen has been very weak. As a result, we have this big bullish trend going on here for the last several weeks. It looks bullish right now, so I'm looking for price to go higher. And the target here will be this high, which is about 90.37 level. So I'm looking for price to go up higher. Looks bullish at the moment. This is a very bullish candle. So bias is to the upside for Aussie yen. Dollar yen. Dollar yen, very, very sideways, not much going on here. This looks kind of like the Swiss franc that we were, pound Swiss franc that we were looking at. Sideways move and neutral. So very neutral on this. It's holding here, so this could go higher. So it's sort of like a bullish pin bar, but it's in the middle here. It hasn't really done much. So at this point, it could go towards 114.30 level. However, it is sideways, so it could sit there till either US dollar strengthens or Japanese yen weakens further. CAD yen here, this is again just like the other commodity currencies, looking very strong. And in this case, the bias is bullish. We are heading into the high here as well, this previous support resistance level, which is also our support here turned resistance here. So I would look for a reaction. So the Japanese yen crosses are at some important levels right now. And like I said, if things stay the way they are, which means the yen is weak and everything else is strong against it, the trend is likely to continue upwards here. So first thing to keep in mind would be, can the price break this 91.80 level? If it does, I'm looking for price to continue further into 93.37 level, which is the high here. But again, we have to be very mindful of this 91.80 level because we are very close to it. So I'm bullish on CAD yen. New Zealand dollar here. This has been very bullish as well. And at this point, it looks bullish. So we could pretty much get rid of all these levels here. For the several weeks here, it has been bullish and looking for further move to the upside. 82.20-ish level will be my next target to the upside. So this looks quite bullish here. All right, so I think gold is what we need here. Let me see, gold. Here we go. Gold is looking bullish. So commodities have been doing well. They have been bullish. So gold is looking bullish. Next target will be the top of this pin here, 1338.10. That is the target to the upside. So looking quite bullish. This is very aggressive price action here. So that looks bullish. Let's take a quick peek at oil here. Oil is looking quite bullish here as well. Okay, so this is what we have. So price broke above this previous resistance area, did a retest of this, and now we are going to the next level. So with this one, we are coming to a significant resistance level for oil. So that's what I would keep in mind. But right now, there is still room for it to move. So we are at 61.49, and the next target is 63 here. So that's what my next target would be, which means oil is still strong, and oil is strong, gold is strong, which means the commodity currencies, so Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, these will be stronger as well. And US dollar is weak, which means Aussie dollar, CAD dollar will be bullish. So that's what I'm seeing here. Commodity strong, commodity currency strong, so Aussie and New Zealand yen weak as well. All right, any other questions before we wrap it up here? All right, perfect. So we'll wrap it up. If you guys have if you guys are interested in taking the courses, you can check out my website, tradingwithvenus.com. I offer a fundamentals course, which is demystifying the fundamentals, and I also offer a technical analysis course, which is based on price action, which is what we were looking at. So if you guys would like to join me, you can do that. And we have a trade room that I trade the London session on. You guys can join me in that if you like. And all the information can be found at tradingwithvenus.com/courses. So you guys have a wonderful trading week, and I'll be back with another weekly analysis next week. Bye, everyone.